Welcome to the Purposeful in Life podcast, where our mission is to help individuals and organizations find their purpose so that they may live a life that is fulfilling and inspired in and out of work. Your hosts, Christina Hall and myself, Garrett Willey, are passionate to inspire, teach, mentor, and serve our community. We have 42 years of combined experience as entrepreneurs and in international corporations. Both of us have military backgrounds. Myself, Garrett, as a commissioned officer with over 9 years of service, and Christina as a military spouse of over 15 years. Welcome to Purposeful in Life, where together we go on the journey of discovering a life filled with purpose and intention. Hi guys, welcome to Purposeful in Life. I don't really know what we're talking about today because my co-host Christina Hall over here and our wonderful guest Kayla. I can't say your last name.
Schroeder.
Schroeder, that's awesome.
Schroeder.
They're going to talk about mom stuff, and I'm just going to sit here and nod.
It's not all we're going to talk about.
No, it's probably about what purposeful in life, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're here to talk about.
I think we should talk about that.
What we want to do, and we have a podcast, and I enjoy that we get to do this and pour into people's lives, is help people see how they can connect to different kinds of people, right? Because we all have our individual story, and we're all like searching for meaning in life, right? Like, what's the meaning of life? Why am I on this planet? What's my purpose? What's my why? And that's why we have that theme here, because we think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, like Will Ferrell in that movie, where Anchorman. I don't know if you know about this, but I'm kind of a big deal. You ever seen that movie?
I've seen it.
Okay. Anyways, talking about purpose is a big deal because we all have one.
Yeah.
Right. And we all have that origin story, like X-Men, that builds up to who we are with life, with what we've experienced in life, whether it's like loss or really amazing things that we went through or experienced, travels or what have you. Every individual has like a why, a reason for when they did different things in life, they felt the most fulfillment. Yep. And if you can see other people talk about what those are and kind of full circle around, you can figure out what fits for you as an individual. And then one of my favorite episodes, I don't remember which one it was, 3, 4, or whatever, when we talked about the celery test. And I'll tell you what that is because you're probably sitting there going, I don't know what this guy's talking about. We just met this morning. So the celery test is something that Simon Sinek put together in his Find Your Why book. It's a really good book. And he talks about, I'm going to try to paraphrase it, but pretty much what it is he's going to a grocery store and getting a bunch of different items. And when he goes to check out, you know, he has healthy items and like Oreo cookies and like a whole bunch of stuff, right? And he's got all this different types of stuff. And if somebody else in line or the cashier can't tell what he's about because he's got really healthy stuff and junk food, right? Versus if you go in and you're only getting the stuff that's really healthy, people can see like, oh, this person is trying to take care of themselves because they're getting salad and celery and blah, 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 right? And the celery test is to look at having a definitive like mission statement or purpose in your life. And you're like, this is what I want to do. This is where my purpose and fulfillment comes from. And you can look back at your day or your week or your month and be like, usually day, keep it smaller. What did I do today that was fulfilling my why or my purpose, right? So if we can do that and like have a definitive like mission statement, so to speak, or why statement according to Simon Sinek, or other people might call it different things, then we can go, did I do something today to fulfill that? And it could be something really small. For us, it's like being here because my why or mission statement is to teach and mentor individuals so I can make a positive impact in their lives and those they influence, right? So when I get the opportunity to teach, whether it's in like helping mentor somebody that I work with or work for, or trying to figure out, you know, leadership growth for myself and for others, or, you know, things that are along that line, if I even spend half an hour or 20 minutes or 10 minutes on it in the day, I can be like, well, at least I did something today that was why I'm here, you know? So that's kind of like the essence of that. And then pretty much it's just we want to hear about you. And the pod works. Did I say that? It has to be a the in front of it.
It's a statement.
A statement.
It's its own statement.
Tell me about that.
The pod works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
The Podworks is a kid-friendly co-working space and community for moms. So, yeah, providing a physical location and a support network, primarily for moms that are working from home or have started their own businesses and are balancing a work and play lifestyle every day. We kind of work 24/7, it feels like, because we're moms first and foremost, but we also are pursuing these personal goals and, trying to kind of create something for ourselves and our families, whether that's, something that falls into a bigger category. I started working from home for an au pair agency that's huge and all around the country, which is where I realized that this was a lacking in our community, and that there was a need that needed to be met. And I decided to step out and do something about it
And make it happen.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We love the entrepreneurial spirit. So.
Yeah, me too. And once you start it, I feel like you can't stop it almost. You have to have that journal with you, because you're just always going to be popping off with new ideas, so it's kind of exciting. And what we found too is that by bringing these, that kind of mindset, bringing those people together in a space, all of a sudden we are inspiring each other, and we're able to fill maybe needs, help others, kind of like complete the picture, So something I'm excited to share with you guys today is a new business we're working on that's going to be launching in the next 4 months or so. And that is a collaboration. It will be called the Collab. And it's a collaboration between the Podworks and Tacoma Children's School, which is a mom that I've met 2 years ago and have become very close with. And she's going to help fill the need for drop-in childcare. And we are going to be able to offer a second location that will also welcome work-from-home dads. So we're kind of just growing, stepping up, realizing we've created something wonderful, and we're hoping to hold on to that and hold on to our original space that kind of honors the sanctity of motherhood. And so we're going to hold on to that space, and then also step into this other space where we can offer things that we can't in the first space.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where are the locations?
Our current location for the Podworks is in University Place, 7024, so 27th Street West. It's near the post office and Round Table Pizza. We have X's Taxes upstairs, but we have our own little building, our own door, and it feels like a house. And so that's what my vision was we're already working from home, and there is something beautiful about that. And I wanted to, take that and recreate that level of comfort and safety, but also take it outside of the four walls that we then sit in all the time, and away from our laundry and our dishes and all the other things that I feel like distract us from focusing on maybe the work that we want to do that day, or just getting down and playing with our kids. So we do both of those things at the pod, and it's just set up like a little home away from home office away from home. Yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
You've been there?
I've been there, and I wish it was closer, because I would go there every day.
I know we talked about we need one in Puyallup.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I think they could spread up everywhere.
Yeah.
That's part of the big picture.
Big vision.
Yeah.
We like big visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing stuff like Grant Cardone talks about 10x, which is having larger goals, because when you expand your goal vision to be something that's like way bigger than what we think we can accomplish, then you'll do actions or steps that are bigger, and you'll achieve way more. So if you're like, oh, I want to have 50 of these in 5 years, and you start doing the actions for that, if you had 35 in 5 years, you would have been immensely successful and have touched and helped a lot of people, and built a really substantial business.
Yeah.
So, because somebody once asked me, what happens when you don't reach your goal? And I was like, I just re-up it and do it again. I just make adjustments and move forward. Now, to me, it was like bizarre. It's like, who reaches their goals? It's setting something so attainable that you're not stretching yourself is how you reach your goal. And then I don't understand why you would like beat yourself up for not reaching it. Only because your goal is to do something that of course is mundane and you can do, right? Then you beat yourself up for it because you're not even accomplishing the minimum of what you're capable of doing. So I liked that concept, and I had this hat and I was wearing it for a while, and just like it was like beating me up kind of inside. I've been thinking about it because I had these like goals that were like maybe like I thought the 10x thing 10 times was like I was like that's nuts. I love the idea, but that's crazy. I'll do like 3x 3 times, and that's a good goal. And then it was like bugging me because it's like sitting there. Sometimes I just drive in the car and don't listen to podcasts. Sorry, Sadie. She's like, eh. But you gotta have time to like think, like, because the meditation thing like weirds me out, even though I think it's wonderful. So I think that maybe that's my way of doing that, is just like when I can like zone everything else out and just like think about something that's on my mind. And so I was thinking about that, and I thought, no, I got to do the 10x type concept and like put that out there in the forefront. And that's how we can grow to be something more than we believe we can be. So it's out there. It's available. Yeah. So what got you aware of or interested in doing the mom's office space?
Well, like I said, I started working from home. I mean, it goes way back. I pursued a profession in journalism so that I could be a freelance writer even before I was a mom, because I knew someday that was what I wanted to be, was a mom. And I wanted to make sure that whatever career I'd worked towards was going to be able to kind of fit with that and still let me be present with her. I actually looked into early childhood education, thought about being like a kindergarten teacher or something, but I didn't want to be away all day and then come home and kind of be burnt out for my own kid. So I went the route of journalism and did that for a long time, freelanced and everything. And I feel like it helped my brain to think outside of the box. I knew I didn't want to sit in an office or in a room for 8 hours a day. And so then when I had her, I found my job with au pair care, and thankfully, I truly believe that when you're following on the right path, it just kind of lights up in front of you. So I had been an au pair, and in 2011, and then flash forward to 2014, and I'm pregnant and trying to brainstorm how I'm going to do this and what I'm going to do for work. And I'm on Craigslist, and there's a au pair care position in Tacoma, but I'd never even heard of that. In the States here, in a position like that. And so it opened, my mind to that. And I applied, literally interviewed over the phone from the delivery room a few hours after I'd had my daughter. Yeah. And I think that story, I laugh now because I actually didn't tell them that I had just had this baby, because I was worried that it would discourage them from hiring me. They'd think, oh, you're a first-time mom, you better focus on that. And so I don't tell them. I'm literally like shaking in the bathroom, like standing for the first time on the phone. And I get the job, and then we're doing our video trainings, and my sister's there helping me hold my like week and a half old baby. And I'm like, okay, like be over there, okay? And I'm like, she's like walking right behind the camera, like holding the baby. And my boss is like, is that your baby? And I was like, oh yeah, I just had this baby. and they were like so excited for me, and they were like, let's see her. And everyone was like, just you could just feel the energy, and it just like brought me to this realization that it doesn't have to be one or the other, and that I had picked the right job because they were going to to honor that part of me.
Nice.
And it actually has worked out great because I'm on the phone a lot with families and their kids are screaming in the background, my kids screaming in the background. And, I'm able to really relate to like the parent side of it, not just having been an au pair. And so that was great. And we started working from home, and she was little, and we'd actually go to coffee shops a lot in the beginning when she would just sit in her car seat, and I'd give her a toy and a bottle, and she'd be so happy. She was such an easy baby, and it was great. But then she got a little bigger and started moving around, and we started like just isolating ourselves. And I remember this season of my life where I wouldn't get dressed. I would just be in my sweats on the couch, and she'd be playing around me, and I'd be, doing dishes and then changing her and then back to work. And I would just sit in this dark, the shades drawn, like this dark living room for and it would take me so long. I would spend the whole day working because I had all these tiny interruptions all day, right? And then that went on for a few days and a few weeks and then a few months. And I just realized whoa, this is not me, and this is not why I have chosen this path. And so I pulled up the blinds and put my mom pants on and put some makeup on, and just made this intention to step out and to make sure that this was going to be the life that I wanted for us. And so we started working a lot then from this place called Frog and Kiwi. It was the play cafe in University Place. And we loved it there. There were a few things, as much as I loved it, there were a few things that I felt that it was missing. And first and foremost was a sense of community. You find yourself sitting at these tables, these awkward, hard, uncomfortable tables, and then just shoulders length away, elbows reach away as another parent, but you don't engage with those people. You just pretend you're, you're burnt out. Usually you're just you're tired and you have work to do. And, and you find too, is that when you meet new parents, even if you're trying to engage with them, you end up having these very surface conversations, and it's always the same conversation. And so it doesn't bring you much joy or life, and you probably aren't even going to remember that person's name because you're just kind of blacked out, going through this dialogue that you're used to having. And I just thought that was so sad, and I just wanted to build new friendships in this new life that I had. A lot of my friends hadn't had kids at the same time that I did. And so, I was seeking that, deeper connections. So I missed that. And some of those spaces, you do it at the park too. It's just blinders on. And so I had been freelancing at the same time for South Sound Magazine, and they had assigned me a story about the Village 253. And so I got to reach out to Ruthie Taylor, and I took her and we went out for coffee, and we sat there for a very long time. And she told me her story, and I started crying halfway through the interview with her because it resonated so much with me. She had started this group that is now thousands of, it's very hyper-local. It's thousands of South Sound-based moms. And the whole intention of her group is building in real-life connections. So it's using an online platform to connect people and then encourage them to step out from behind their computers and their phones and to meet up for play dates. And we do clothing swaps, and it's blown up. I mean, when I interviewed her, she had just started, and it was I think it was 500 people at that point, but it started and it picked up speed right away because moms are we are desperate for this, we are tired and we need something that's going to energize us and bring back that joy in that life. And so she did something amazing, and that, I think that at the same time as, me working from home and feeling like something's got to give, is when I realized that what she had shown us, that there's this community here, and the people are there. But what I felt was missing was these spaces. Like we needed physical locations where we could go, where you don't have to plan to meet up with your friend, because that in itself is sometimes exhausting. And then we end up canceling or being late so much of the time. So just a space that if you happen to get your pants on that day or didn't, you can, you're still wearing your yoga pants, that's fine. You can go there and you can meet somebody else that's coming there for that same thing. And so that's kind of what the office, what the Podworks was inspired by and started for. Yeah.
People need community,
Yes.
and I think it's part of what we were created to be a part of is community. And so many people, like you were alluding to, are isolated. And they could be moms or just even people that just go to work every day because they have only superficial relationships or conversations with people that they're there with because they're just going to work so that they could go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, those are the folks that, we're passionate about, like helping them find their way out of that because they're just living for Friday and loathing Monday. Right. And then you would be more able to attest being the mom that works at home that it doesn't end. You have to, you're always working. And then being an entrepreneur on top of it, you have your JOB to pay the bills. You have your entrepreneurial health coach business to build a long-term future for you and your whole family. And that makes you working every day, all day, nonstop. And that's exhausting. So the only way to like be able to get the energy is to have community and people that are going through the same thing that you can resonate with.
And I haven't been, I've been there when you first opened, because I'm like, I was looking for something, like, desperately. And what you said, like, to me, it's almost like a mastermind of, like, mompreneurs, if you want to. Like, you get so many ideas and you get inspired just by being there in that room. It's crazy what you've put together.
Yeah, thank you. And another thing that kind of brought up was that in motherhood, there's a lot of judgment. There's there's all these stigmas, and then there's these, it's so easy to fall to that side of it where your community ends up kind of against you than for you. And so that was the whole thing, like, instead of judgment and competition, that's what it was too. It's like a lot of moms are in MLMs, for example. And whatever you feel about that, like, that is something that's empowering them to be able to work from home and provide for their families and build their own communities. But then they're within that, there's a lot of them. It's, and so that's just an example of where you could choose to, like, look at someone else and be like, oh, like, they're doing what I'm doing and, like, they're doing it better, or, you judge yourself, and everybody feels like they're judging everybody else. And so
the competition, right?
Yeah,
because everyone's like, oh, my product's better.
Yeah.
How come everybody's products are better? That doesn't make any sense. How about I'm just trying to provide a service to serve people.
Yeah.
And if I resonate with you and you try what I have and it makes sense to you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Let's still love on each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Right?
Yes.
Right. It doesn't have to be competition. Because when it's competition is when you feel like I'm not good enough when somebody else gets the customer. Right? Rather than being like, I'm happy for you that they're buying from you instead of me. Just be like, actually I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And even if they do, it doesn't mean they can buy from you either in the future or on top of whatever they do.
Yeah.
It's like, I go shopping, I go to one store and then go to a different one to buy a pair of jeans. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I can still be your customer
And your friend.
and your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both at the same time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that we do at the space, outside of just being, this full office space is that we rent the space out. So we just had a birthday party yesterday. So we rent out for birthday parties and workshops or whatever. You can rent the space. So one of our moms that runs, she works for Young Living Essential Oils, and her and another Young Living Essential Oils mom had teamed up, and they are throwing these really awesome events, like you come and you have this cozy space, and they have different themes, and we did a whole like DIY like Christmas package
Wrapping
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we made like little room sprays and bath bombs,
Okay.
it was just like an interactive, fun event, and I love their example because, they teamed up, they're doing the same thing, but they decided that they could do it better together. So they've teamed up, and they're able to grow their reach, and they're able to offer something like just wonderful that feels really good, that would be really hard for one person to pull off.
It's great. Angela, my fiance, is Young Living as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
her other business that she does. And she partners with this woman, Micah, who was on our podcast.
Oh yeah, no.
You know Micah, she's wonderful.
Yeah, she is.
And they're doing like emotions classes and a bunch of other stuff. And their businesses aren't tied to each other. And yet they're helping each other grow their businesses because there's no need for competition.
Yeah.
Right? It's just about the service and helping each other and creating a community. So I love that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I resonate with that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So, tell us like a story earlier on in life that you felt fulfilled doing something. Like it could be like something that happened in high school or college that you were like, oh, this excited me.
I feel like those have come up, in every season. There's kind of one of those. But I definitely go back to my au pair year, because that was something that I never thought I would do that. I never.
What is au pair? You've mentioned it several times.
Au pair is it's a live-in childcare culture exchange. So au pairs are like live-in nannies, but they move countries and they move in with another family. And the idea is that you're not just a nanny or a domestic worker that they're voting on right now, that you are part of this family and that they kind of adopt you in for the year. And so, I was like, I say my early life crisis because I had graduated from college. I was paying off student loans and working at a restaurant downtown that I'd worked at for many years, and just feeling like, what am I doing? Like where is my life going? And so I called up my sister, and she had been an au pair in Australia, and I asked her, what she thought of the program, and she said, I support you 1,000%. You have to do it. And I remember I was sitting in Starbucks on Pacific Avenue, and I was like, all right. And I logged on, and I made an account for myself, and it was like this, it was almost like online dating, but dating for like host families, like what family do you want? And I interviewed for 2 weeks, and I accepted a job, and 3 months later, I was on a one-way flight to Norway.
Wow.
And woke up with a family with 4 kids, and yeah, it was crazy. And so it was just so bizarre to think, like, before that point in my life, I had never thought that was even something I wanted, or but I'm so glad I did it. And I remember moving there, and it was like a huge life change, and it was in the end of November, and their seasons are very similar to ours, but they have a little more of like the short winter days and then the long summer days. And so the winter was really hard. Like after the holidays were over, I was like super homesick and depressed for a little while. It took me like a month to pull myself out of it. But and there again, it's like I see that glimpse of myself, like in the sweatpants, like on the couch for like 4 hours, like, and it's like you get to that point and you're like, okay, I've got to make a change, and like focus on why am I here? I've got it. This time is fleeting, and just making the most of it. So plan a little trip and start exercising again and like doing all the things that make me feel good. And like I just had like the best year. And I never thought, even when I moved there, I had this security blanket of this family that I didn't know that well. But at that point, I just knew in my heart that they were going to be the right fit for me, and they were wonderful. But I never thought then, like, oh, after this, I'm going to buy a bunch of train tickets and pack my backpack and go backpacking over Europe by myself for 2 months. And I did. Like at the end of it, I was someone different than the person I was when I first flew there, you know? And so just feeling like you just level up, like you just are so, it's so inspiring to feel like you don't have to be stuck into, you know, whatever you feel right now, you know? Yeah, so I'm so, so glad that I did that, that I took that leap, and then that I thought, you know, I wanted to do even more before I went home, and I like packed in this amazing experience that sometimes feels like a dream now. Yeah.
What would be a piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's at that point in their lives when you chose to go do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think just like it really is reaching out. I feel like if I hadn't had like my sister or somebody that I could ask, I needed like that pat on the back that like yes, like keep going, you know. Yeah, and I find that too like with the pod like you just start you feel this little bit of self-doubt and like am I crazy, like should I do that, you know, and then if you ask the people around you, especially the people that you know love you and support you, they're gonna probably help guide you in the right direction, and you're probably headed in the right direction, but you just need a little bit of that encouragement. And so you know, even when we started the pod, and that's another example of feeling that like that competition, like, ugh, like you just kind of freeze up because I had been like, I had this idea and I start posting on our village group, like, hey, this, I'm like brainstorming this. What did people think about this? And there was another mom who was like, you know, was posting something very similar. Like I would read it and just feel like she's like on the same kind of path that I'm on. And I remember like her post had some nice visual and all these people liked and commented on hers and not mine. And I just remember being like, maybe I should just not, like she's going to do it and she's going to do it better than I am. So maybe I'll just let her do it, you know? And I remember feeling that for like a blip of a second. And then I was like, no, I can't let that eat me up. And so I sent her a private message and I said, hey, I saw your post. That's so awesome. I think that we might have kind of a similar vision. I'd love to have you for coffee sometime. And so we went to Red Elm. It's a kid-friendly coffee shop in Hilltop. We met up there and our daughters were the same age. And we sat and we talked, and it was just like, we realized that we did have a very similar dream, but she was looking to fill some more of the business coaching side of it, and I was really wanting to provide the space. And so we realized that, you know, I could have easily just shut myself down in that moment, but instead by reaching out to her, we realized we could create something together. And so we did a couple coffee play dates, and then we were like, we're going to do this together. And we created like two businesses alongside each other that were able to really create what we ultimately needed.
Are you guys partners or just collaborating?
We were just we did it with two separate businesses at that time. We were both like, I was a brand new entrepreneur, so you know, I handled all of like the physical brick and mortar stuff, and then we provided two different memberships, and she was able to bring in a lot of people because she was really good at networking and you know and hosting events and speaking at a time when I was just getting into it, you know. So we partnered for a while. It was kind of an unofficial business partnership, but yeah, we totally supported each other and built something wonderful together. And then she realized, you know, she ended up moving back home across the country and realized her vision was even bigger. And so she started this thing called Momentum, which is an online marketplace for moms, you know, so that she can reach and support moms around the world, you know, and here we are, like, with our space. We're still here. So, you know,
Good.
it's just like sometimes it's stepping stones, you know. For her, it's like she did the Pod Collective and was coaching other moms, and then it kind of showed her what she was ultimately going for. So that was great.
It's really neat. And we're going to be able to meet people like that in our lives and have relationships forever. I'm sure you still stay in touch with
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
and you guys can help each other to grow.
Yeah.
Accountability as well as just friendship. That's really, really good and healthy.
Yeah, it feels great. And then, so, like I said, now that we're doing our second phase here, it's again in partnership with another mom who, that I've met through our group, and her and I just kind of jive, and we can sit together and have a beer together at Seven Seas, and the kids are there playing, and we just are out there like spitting off ideas, like, and it's just, it helps you to keep that momentum and that energy going, because she'll come up with something and then oh my gosh, I just thought of this thing. And, we just get so excited together, and you're not alone in it. So it doesn't just like fizzle out,
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your idea with the new thing?
So yeah,
collab?
the collab, yes. So we're looking at a space. We are not quite announcing it yet because we haven't signed the papers, but we're very, very close to a location that is going to be kind of our dream location for the next phase.
Awesome.
So excited. But we're going to offer a little bit larger space than we have now, so that we'll be able to have some separation. At the pod currently, it's very like self-service. So you come in, you have your code if you're an office member, and your kids run to the back room and pull out their favorite toys, and you make yourself a cup of coffee in the Keurig, and you set up your laptop and get to work. And so there's no childcare there. There's no separation there. It's like very much the way that we function, and while we're working at home with our kids. And the new space, there will be separation. We will have a second level where parents can go, and the kids aren't allowed up there. And we'll have desks, and it'll be a little quieter and more of like a functional workspace. And that's where we'll be able to welcome fathers as well. We've had actually a few reach out and ask to join the pod. So we're like, it's time, we got to do it. And then downstairs we will have childcare. It's the learning lab is what we'll call it. And that will be, we're looking at probably three years old and up. But art and science-based activities for the kids to come in and do, and create their own little communities. And
You getting goosebumps?
yeah, we are all
Sounds
so
awesome.
excited
You
because
gotta look at it for sure.
yeah, because not only is it, a quality place to take your kids while you're doing all the many things that you're doing, but it's the idea of flexible drop-in childcare is
Yes.
something that we cannot find easily here unless you go to the YMCA or go grocery shopping at Fred Meyer and decide to use their little play area. Like those are really examples of some of the only places that offer that. And so to know that if you have a coffee meeting with someone, or you have to do a work call, and you have no one to watch your kids, that you can go and drop them off for even just an hour, and get your stuff done, or go 2 blocks down and do your grocery shopping without tagging all your kids along,
Without them pulling boxes into the grocery cart.
Yeah, go shopping. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be really great. We have a lot of parents that are very excited for this resource. That you're not gonna have to buy into a full-time, daycare or preschool. Even for me, my daughter currently goes to Tacoma Children's School, which is the business that we're collaborating with, who's going to run the childcare. But we're just like, we're always running late in the morning. We live like a very like free form lifestyle, and so she like won't go to school half the time, and we're we drop her off an hour and a half late in the mornings because I don't want to stress in the mornings. And so that's the life that we live, and there's not a lot of places that support that.
Yeah.
I've signed her up for a 3-day-a-week preschool program, and you pay this certain rate, and then if you don't use all the hours, you're just it doesn't really make that much sense for somebody like me. So and I think there's a lot of other parents that probably feel that way too. Before you have to send your kid to school, or send your kid to school full time, then you sometimes want to be able to create your own schedule, and decide what every day is going to look like. So we're doing it. Doing it. And then we'll have, additionally downstairs, we'll have a little space too, the little lab where moms with younger children or moms that are coming in and just, them and their children are trying to get comfortable with the space and the idea that they'll be able to be there and like see through our glass wall there and be able to watch the bigger classroom. And, you don't have to just come in and drop them off and leave. I really want to create something that's transparent and like just it's all in one. So, you can be there with your kids. You can go upstairs and work and come down and take them for lunch and then come back after lunch, It's very integrative. It's like this modern day parenting style.
I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It's really exciting.
Like huge.
Yeah. So,
Because there's definitely a need there.
There is.
It doesn't fit everybody, but it fits a lot of people.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because think about how expensive childcare is. What is it, like $900 to $1,200 per child per month or something like that? For like full-time childcare?
Yeah.
Depends on what you use, yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot. And then for a stay-at-home mom type person like Christina, it's hard for you to get work done sometimes.
Sometimes all the time. Yeah, like what you described earlier, like that's a thing because kids are not like clockwork. They want what they want whenever they want it, and you just as a parent you have to provide. So, yes.
Wow. Sadie should be a part of this conversation,
Yeah.
not just sitting over
Yeah, I
there
see
with
her
the
over there
headset on
nodding.
going,
Yeah,
oh
she's
my
excited
gosh,
for us too.
this is going to be your future.
It's gonna be set up. It's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then just providing a space where all these different professions and all these
Yeah.
different people can come together, and somebody who's running a small business can then meet Sadie and meet you guys, and find out about the podcast, and and just everybody helping to fill the needs and support each other and create a real good community.
It's like a networking group almost.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So we're doing a big event at the end of February here. It's already February, so the end of the month. So that's going to
Well,
be
you said it was on the 22nd, right?
February
So
22nd.
three weeks from now.
I know. Oh my gosh, we've been planning it for several months now, but it's called South Sound Family Formal. So that's another little dream bubble that we had was, we were going to these girls only prom events, and as adults, we still like to get dressed up and go out and have and dance and have a good time, and so you don't get that opportunity as much once you become adults and parents, and so. The girls only prom was just for 21 and over women. It was an amazing event that they did for a few years. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening this year. And so at the same time that, I was talking to the mom who had run that and trying to pick her brain a little bit, and she told me that they weren't planning on being able to do that this year. And so we were talking about doing the South Sound Family Formal version. So it's a similar style. It's actually at the same place that the Girls Only Prom had been at. It's going to be at the Star Center, but it's an all-family formal event. So prom for everybody, all ages. And so it's going to be a really magical night with a lot of really awesome local businesses represented there, and good food and good drink, and characters, Disney princesses, and Mrs. South Sound is going to be there, and we're going to dance and just make a lot of fun memories together. And that event is actually our fundraiser to help kickstart this new business. So to help us with some of the startup costs and whatnot, and also just as a big community gathering, we're going to announce at the event actually what our location is and hopefully our opening date. So that's kind of the exciting
Got to get
stuff.
Ryan there in his dress blues.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Why not?
You don't wear that outside of
Military
military
things.
functions.
Okay, so just a suit.
Different blue.
Different blue.
Yeah, but
For sure.
we're all really excited. The kids are pumped too. So yeah, you can find out more information, and there's a little, paragraph kind of describing what the business is and what the vision is behind this event on the website at southsoundfamilyformal.com, and you can buy tickets there. It's one ticket price for your whole family, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So we hope to have a really good turnout and just get a lot of people behind the business, and we're going to have by then a website launched where people can actually sign up at a and get a little thank you discount for being some of our first members. But we have people asking where the wait list is, so so we'll be able to share that at the dance too.
For the collab, is that what you're referring to?
For the collab, yeah.
That'll be
It's
fun.
awesome.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, we just that we do monthly events as well. So just providing space and opportunities for people to get together and provide that community and build those deeper relationships. So then you can see some of hopefully the same faces, and you can pick up your conversation where you left off instead of having talks about the weather and diapers and nap times.
It's snowing today.
Yeah. How about that?
Yes, it is.
I did
We all
notice.
have eyes.
Yes, it is snowing. So we do monthly play dates at the pod. It's every 15th of the month from 10 to 2 p.m. We make it a long morning so that there's no reason that nap time is going to keep you home all day. You can come before or after your nap time. But every month is a different theme, and every month we highlight and feature a different local business, or maybe sometimes a few businesses. So this coming month is February 15th falls on a Saturday, which is a rare occasion, which means that all the 9 to 5 parents can hopefully come out for this one too. And Blooming Kids is going to be with us that day. So she runs a children's consignment shop, and she's going to have a bunch of awesome kids clothing there. People can bring their kids clothing and consign to her at the event, or buy some new stuff, some gently used stuff. And she's going to have a special selection of formal wear as well for the dance. So that's exciting. And we've actually also been collecting some adult dresses as well. So we're going to have a whole, a whole closet of mom gear, adult fancy dresses, and just do, pay what you can. It's a week before the dance, so the idea is that if you wanted to come and you haven't had a dress yet, maybe you can swing by and find something that you feel good in and can wear. But yeah, it's going to be fun way to support other businesses and to open our door in a way that we don't do it daily that way. And so anyone is welcome, dads as well, and you can just pop on by and make yourself a cup of coffee, and the kids play and we make a few friends, and
That's wonderful.
yeah, very fun. So a lot of fun things there. And then the rentals as well, if people want to host their own events, that's an option too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Angela might be interested in that. She's
Yeah.
always doing events.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. So we have a Facebook and an Instagram where we share a lot of those events that are coming up and just fun things, that are going on, and then our website.
we got to give all that stuff to Sadie so she can post it on it.
Yeah.
She's already got it on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So she's on top of it.
Sadie's on top.
Yeah.
Typically, yeah.
I guess one last question. I don't know. What advice would you give someone that, has that idea but doesn't know, has those doubts? What would you say should that person do, or, look for, or get a mentor, or...
Yeah, definitely back to the mentorship and the community, and finding someone else that, like for me, it was the first time I'd ever run a brick and mortar, and so that was like so scary. Like, I mean, I took everything I'd saved and I put it into getting this space and filling it. And there were some things that I was good at, and there were other things that I wasn't that good at. And so, like the numbers side of it isn't necessarily my strength, but I was able, by creating a community and kind of opening my mind and like speaking out about what my needs were and what my vision was, but what I needed, asking other people, just asking. And even as a mom, like if you are tired and just need a nap, like just ask some people. I bet you there's a friend or a family member who'd happily take your baby for a little bit, you know. But it's just that idea of like, it's
I'll take Katie.
yeah.
One time we did this bowling thing, and she's like, "Oh, I'm bowling with another team. You get Katie."
Oh.
And Angela and I loved it for those couple of hours. We just loved it.
Well, let's get back to that. I was supposed to be on your team.
You were, but I had two. My friend's, another friend's mom came, and I wasn't gonna be like, "We did invite you." So, it was like, oh man.
So you got Katie.
So I got Katie, which I'd love to have her. Have her.
That's great. Yeah,
She's
she
adorable.
just, yeah, and that's it. Christina just said what she needed, and you know, you voice what you need, and that's the other thing too. It's just like speaking out about what it is. So whether it's a need or an ask, or even in the beginning when the pod was just an idea. It was just a dream I had one night. I thought of it and woke up and like I say it kicked inside me like a baby. Like I like couldn't sleep, and I went out in the living room and I laid on the living room floor and I just started like writing all these notes. And after I'd written everything down, then I was ready and went back to bed. But that kind of started it, and I was afraid because it was for me at that time it was such a big leap and a big vision to think like I'm gonna find a space and I'm gonna pay the rent at that space every month and hope that people, you know, join and participate. But I just started talking about it, you know, like I have this idea, and every day I'd find a few people, and they might ask what I was up to, and I would talk about it. And by talking about it, it helped to take something that was just an idea, just a vision, and it helped to make it like real. It was like more tangible. And the more people I would talk to, the more encouragement I would get, the more I realized that I wasn't alone, and that thinking this was a good idea, you know, and so that started to propel this thing forward. And that was so powerful. So that's I guess where I come back to, like remembering where I was then and wanting to encourage others, like just don't be afraid to talk about it, you know, in your circle and with other people, and don't be afraid to ask for help and share what your needs are, because somebody else is probably happy to team up with you and make that thing happen. Yeah.
I like
Cool.
that. Best advice of the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's so fun too. I just like love watching the kids. Like they are watching us. And
Yes.
so when they see us work together and build strong relationships and be with them, but also be like these entrepreneurs and these like hardworking people, it's like my daughter is she's so funny now. She like has like all these jobs she's gonna do. She talks about, and I'm gonna run that business, and I'm gonna do this and have 5 jobs, and I'm like, okay, that's great. So you can be whatever you want to be. But I'll be working at the pod, and she'll get next to me and she'll set up a couple magazines, and we have a little fake, you know, a little old typewriter that they play on, and get her phone. And you know, I remember one time she'd taken fake phone calls and from somebody apparently that wanted to buy the pod, and so she's like, "No, you cannot buy the pod," and like hanging up the phone on them, you know, like it was just like so silly, like the way her little brain's working, but it's something really powerful. So it's fun to like enrich our own lives and those around us, and then watch it the way that it's instilling something really magical in our kids too. So
5 jobs isn't far off. The average entrepreneur has pretty much five jobs, because you're wearing all these little hats.
Yes.
And the whole goal is to build it to not the whole goal, but a big goal for me at least is to build and grow the business so that I can like give that hat to somebody else.
yeah.
You know, like create a job for somebody else that then allows me to spend more time in vision and development and growing even more. So it's like, as we grow, it's not like people are like, you're just going to take all the money, because then you can't grow anymore. Right? You have to then reinvest and like hire someone to do that task. Like for you and I think it would be having somebody else do bookkeeping and accounting and number stuff.
Oh, that was the
because
first
I
thing
loathe
I
it.
asked for.
Yeah, it's like I loathe it. I don't like that at all.
Exactly.
So somebody else do that and like just tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, and help me fix it. That's what I'll pay you for.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, just just do it. But we have to know what our own strengths are.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the only way to know is to do stuff.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Do it anyways.
Yep. Do it anyways. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. Come to
Yeah.
South Sound Family Formal.
Yes.
And to the collab and the potworks.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, everybody should go check that out and go to your websites. What's your website one more time?
ThePodworksTacoma.com, SouthSoundFamilyFormal.com as well.
The other one. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the podworkstacoma.com, do you have a link to the South Sound Formal?
No, but talking today reminded me that I need to do that. So.
If we spend a couple hours talking, we come up with all sorts of
Yes.
business ideas and how to
So
collaborate
when
and connect things together.
Yeah, go
That's
home
where I
and
get
do that
excited.
right now.
Yeah.
I totally geek out on business stuff. So that's why we're here too, because we love to help each other.
Yeah, you guys
And
are
I
great.
love that collaboration.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on and visiting us and joining us with the show on Purposeful in Life with Garrett Willie
And Christina Hall.
and
Kayla Schroeder.
thanks guys.
Thanks.
Bye.